All right, today we're diving into a really powerful vision for Kenya, all drawn from the 2026 Lenten campaign materials. This is about building a better future, one that's rooted in justice, peace, and, well, the core of human dignity.
And right at the heart of this entire campaign is this incredible call for justice from the prophet Amos. He's not talking about a gentle trickle here. He's talking about a powerful, unstoppable river. This really sets the spiritual tone for everything else we're about to explore.
So where does this come from? Well, it's from the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops' Justice and Peace Department, the CJPD. And it's designed not just to be read, but to really spark some deep reflection and, most importantly, some real action across the country.
We're going to follow the campaign's own clear path today. First, we'll see a story of hope. Then we'll judge Kenya's current reality. After that, we'll reflect on a deeper spiritual call. And finally, we'll look at how we can act. So let's get started.
Our focus this time is on something called the cry of the earth. It's really about learning to listen and then respond to the needs of our shared home, our planet.
So to really get what this call means, we're going to start with a story of hope that shows exactly what's possible when people come together. Let's head over to the community of Tambarara.
The community here was in a real crisis. Can you imagine watching your land, your whole way of life just turn to dust because of a relentless drought? The future looked, well, it looks pretty bleak.
But right out of this challenge, a solution started to grow. A young woman named Imani took the wisdom her grandmother had passed down and blended it with new ideas about farming. Her idea was simple, but it was also kind of revolutionary. Let's plant trees that actually belong here. And she got everyone on board. Together, they didn't just plant trees. They were planting a whole new future for themselves.
Imani's story is just this perfect little example of what local action can do. But what's really interesting is when we zoom out from her village and see how her story reflects the bigger picture all across Kenya. See, Kenya is a nation of huge contrasts. On one side, you got these incredible blessings, right? Rich forests, amazing wildlife, even a constitutional right to a clean environment. But on the other side, you have the tough reality: pollution, deforestation, a real struggle with waste. It's like two different worlds in the same country.
But just like in Tamabare, there is hope on a national level too. You can see this momentum building with big initiatives like the Jaza Miti project. Their goal is a staggering 15 billion trees. And programs like Flaka are empowering local communities to take climate action. So a real shift is starting to happen.
The campaign looks at this whole issue through a really powerful lens called integral ecology. And the key thing to get here is that you absolutely cannot separate environmental justice from social justice. The idea is that the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor, they're really one and the same cry.
So this goes way beyond just policies and projects. It's a spiritual call. The material asks us to just pause for a second and think about this on a much deeper level, connecting our faith directly to what we do.
And the scriptures offer this profound message of renewal, of new life. There's a powerful parallel drawn between the story of Lazarus being raised from the dead and the state of our planet right now.
And this really gets to the heart of the spiritual message. The earth itself is crying out, kind of trapped, like Lazarus was. We hear it in the crazy weather, the drawing rivers, the polluted air. And it's waiting for us to be part of its healing, to be part of its resurrection.
Which brings us to the most important part of all, the big question: what can we actually do? So let's see how all this reflection builds into real, tangible action.
The very first step is actually looking in the mirror. It starts with this really fundamental question we have to ask ourselves. Do we see the earth as a sacred gift to be cared for, or is it just a resource for us to use up? Honestly, our answer to that changes everything.
And from that personal reflection, we get these proposed actions. And the great thing is, they're practical, they're accessible, they are things that any one of us, any family, any community can start doing right now. From planting a tree to starting an environmental club at a school.
But the campaign points out there's this deeper challenge, a kind of poison in the system that threatens to choke out every single one of these positive efforts before they can even get going. And there it is. The campaign doesn't pull any punches. It names it corruption. It's called the ultimate environmental threat. And using those powerful words from Pope Francis's visit to Kenya, it's called a path of death that destroys our common home for selfish gain.
And so, we end with this final challenging thought. Healing our planet isn't just about planting trees or cleaning up waste. It's about having the courage to uproot the greed and corruption that let it get destroyed in the first place. So the question is, how do we fight for one without also fighting for the other?